Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Our next conversation focuses on Arima, as the Arima Borough Council has their Social Services Outreach Day on Saturday, the 16th of November. Joining us is Janice Scott, Councillor for Calvary Community Development and Social Services. Good morning, Janice, and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Natasha. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
It's a pleasure to have you with us on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we're really excited for this conversation. Well, perhaps I should say I'm really excited for this conversation to see exactly what is going to be taking place for this Social Services Outreach Day. Before we get into the details, though, is this an annual thing that happens?
Well, this is a new council. We would have recently been installed in 2023. So even though we have taken under multiple outreaches, this is the first one of its kind by this council.
Well, congratulations to you and your council on this initiative. How did this idea come to life?
This idea came to life because as councillors, we all would discuss, the issues that our burgesses are faced with. Because at the end of the day, the Arima Borough Council, we're very connected to our burgesses. So when they come in and express their need for certain outreaches, the council would take note of it. We would come together and brainstorm to see how we could, improve the lives and the accessibility of services to the burgesses that we serve. So in our discussions, we would have identified key partners and key issues that we determined that needed to be treated with. So we said, you know what, we need to be able to reach our burgesses in the most effective way, and this is what we would have determined was the best outcome.
And I know that many, of course, are going to be looking forward to the outcome on Saturday, the 16th of November, because they're definitely going to be able to take away some sort of benefit to individual and community. So let's speak about some of the key partners that are going to be involved in this Social Services Outreach Day, Janice.
Yes, so on Saturday, we actually have partnered with 10 ministries or agencies to make sure that we reach as many persons as possible. So we have the Ministry of Social Development and Family Service, Ministry of Sport and Community Development, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Gender and Child Affairs, the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, Ministry of Public Utilities, the National Commission for Self-Help Limited, Legal Aid and Advisory Authority, the National Maintenance, Training and Security Company Limited, and the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago. So these are all what we would have done as well. We would have gone onto our social media platforms and asked the people, who are the organizations, what the ministries you all really need to speak with. And this list is actually it came from recommendations from the people of the borough of Arima.
It's wonderful to hear, to know rather that their voices were heard. And this is something that I'm assuming is the first of many, courtesy your council as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, one
We
of the
will
things...
have different, yes, sorry.
No, sorry, by all means, please.
Yes, we will have different outreaches. We are planning to have something for the youth in terms of jobs and so forth, but that will come in our next segment.
It's wonderful to hear. Now, if you could kindly just walk us through what the day is going to be like when you say social services outreach, but we see, of course, like the Ministry of Health there as well. Is it that there are going to be some offerings on the day itself, like testing and that sort of thing?
So what the Ministry of Health and these organizations will be coming to do is to really explain to the members of the public what their offerings are. So in terms of grants, how that they can access these grants, because a major issue in terms of getting the access is the information, because a lot of times the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and these ministries have so much to offer the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. However, sometimes it is our job as councillors to make sure we edify those that we serve, and this is the way in which we're doing it. So, for instance, Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, they're coming with their National Family Services Division, the Division of Aging, the C Division, HIV/AIDS Coordinating Unit, the NGO unit, the Social Welfare Division, and the Education unit. Ministry of Health is also coming to explain to the public, what persons can do to access their different outreaches. So we're really trying to ensure that the members of the public in Arima and environs, and of course it's open up to any persons who can make it, to really come out and see how they can get the assistance in which they require.
Now, Janice, speaking about whether or not they can make it, where is the Social Services Outreach Day taking place and what time is it happening at?
So it is at the Arima Community Center, which is located on Anglican Street in Arima, and it is from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Wonderful. Now, Janice, I'd just like to go back to the birthing of this idea that happened. How long did it take you from inception to actually putting this on? What was the timeline like?
So it actually took us approximately a month or so in terms of getting the feedback, council giving feedback as well, and making sure that we are able to properly execute and plan the day's activities. So it really took us approximately a month. So this is why when we know that it will be a worthwhile activity, and one that brings forth a lot of knowledge and information to those who attend tomorrow.
Now, speaking about those who attend, is this going to be open to all age groups?
Of course, at the end of the day, it is for persons who require the assistance. So, we don't want persons to feel as though it's only for a particular age group. It is for everybody. As you can see, we have the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, which touches on programs for young people. We have the Ministry of Youth Development and National Services that also touches on young people. For instance, there's NIB, which can give young persons and persons throughout the age groups the necessary information that they would require, because a lot of persons in Arima would come and say, they're now going into a job, how can they access these services from NIB and so forth. And this is there to edify and to give them the information that they need. And of course, we have the Ministry of Gender and Child Affairs. So it is for everybody. It is open to all age groups. And that is what we wanted to ensure, that the Arima community, as well as the wider public, have the best outcome and access to as many resources as possible. So there's open bracket on the age groups that can participate.
Janice, one of the things that you would have mentioned is, of course, going to the public and asking about, what areas they need some more education in, let's say, for want of a better expression. And you did note that critical gap. But we realized from this that you got a great response from those in the community. But what about your key partners? Were they as willing to come on board and had already identified those gaps? Or was this something that you were able to bridge with your council?
No, absolutely. One of the main priorities when we look at vision, for instance, Vision 2030, it is putting people first. And a lot of these ministries and agencies would have this common thread running through their mandate. So we would have definitely seen it. It was quite easy to get them on board. They were quite willing. Many of them are excited. I've seen the responses, for instance, from legal aid. They are also sharing it. We've had great responses from Ministry of Sport, Ministry of Public Utilities. So all these agencies want to get the information out there, and they want to partner with councils, with groups, and so forth. So it really was not a challenge getting them on board. We're making sure that everything is put in place for them, so that when they are comfortable, members of the public are now comfortable to get the information as best as they could. So we really do thank them for their participation, for their interest, for their excitement, because at the end of the day, the Arima Borough Council, headed by His Worship Balira Maraj, we want to make sure that members of the public feel the love and feel and see that the council is working for them. And we're doing so through our partners in this social outreach day.
Well, Councillor Janice Scott, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to seeing more coming out of course, your council, and seeing that positive impact on the community as well. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.
Janice Scott, Councillor for Calvary Community Development and Social Services, speaking about an outreach day that you don't want to miss, happening on the 16th of November. Stay tuned, because there's more coming up on the Now Morning Show after this break.